Disney. I have been a big fan of Disney. Mostly the animation side, of course, as we come to know Disney with their animation. I've, ever since I was a kid, the very, very first animated film I ever went to see, or I was taken to go see by my mum, was The Lion King. And then the second film I saw, which was Pixar, now with Disney, Toy Story. And I just fell in love with both the Pixar stuff as well as the, I would say, the golden era, as it's dubbed, like Jungle Book, 101 Dalmatians, so on, so many great films that over the years, through my childhood, right up to now, I've just fallen in love with, and I continue to revisit them to this day. Um, However, this brings me to the subject point of this video, which is talking about Disney's thing of remaking all their classic stuff into live action. Yeah. Now, I'm going to just say quickly before I get too far into things. Each to their own. There is going to be an audience out there that do like these live actions and will happily spend money and go and see them in the cinema or what have you. But for me, I don't like this thing with Hollywood and with Disney at the moment where they feel they have to reinvent their classic stuff, or they have to going down this tangent of remaking everything from their past library into live action, and they're just soulless. They don't have the same identity. They are supposedly based on the animated film, but yet they are so different in many ways. They are just badly made, in my opinion. So, yeah. Let's talk about it. Obviously, we've had the live action Mulan based on the Disney film Mulan, which Mulan, the animated film Mulan, is one of my all-time favorite animated films ever made. I'm a big fan of that sort of period of time when it comes to warriors, and I like my samurai, and I like my ninjas, and things of that nature. Martial art films. I love my battle films. And when I was a kid and I went to see Mulan when it came out, I was just blown away. Eddie Murphy playing Mufu, I think that's how you pronounce it, the little red dragon thing. And just that film for me was fantastic. Then they go ahead and announce they were going to do a live action adaptation based upon the animated film. Now, it had absolutely it was called Mulan, and I think that's as far I don't know, that was as far as it got to trying to be Mulan. It was just called Mulan, and it was just kind of like, yeah, they're putting too much emphasis on like the political side of things in the world at the moment. And I think that's what killed it. Um, yes, Mulan. If you look at the legend of Mulan, it is based upon a legend from China. It's not said that she was a real person. It's actually based on like a story, like folklore story that uh, over the generations has been told to children, and it's kind of like one of those. It's kind of one of those folklore tales that has been told over time, and that's what Mulan was originally based upon, the legend of Mulan, and I think the original animated film for Mulan captured captured the captured that really, really well. The Legend of Mulan. I think it was a perfect adaptation to that folklore tale. Um, but I think the live action film, obviously there was no, they got rid of Mufu. Obviously they could have brought Eddie Murphy back. It might have actually kind of helped the film a little bit, but it just felt much more dire. It was much more depressing. Obviously, I know it's wartime. I understand that, but there was nothing to it. There wasn't the thing with Mulan, the animated film. It has perfect. It has like a perfect balance. It has a great message. It also has good humor, and it also has good moments of sadness and desperation, and it has all these different elements a part of it that made it such a good film. But the live action doesn't really have that. It doesn't really have anything going for it except for just being an action film. It just feels like a generic action film that happens to be based on Mulan. That's the big difference between the two. It's just lackluster in comparison. Then, but you can't really even call these live action films, to be honest, because they are technically animated films. And it's the Lion King films that they've been doing into live action. The Lion King is the animated film, The Lion King, is my all time favourite animated film ever. It is my all time favourite. It's ever since I went to see it when I was about 5 years old. It was the first film my mum ever took me to go see at the cinema. I was blown away by the music, the songs, all the characters were fantastic. James Earl Jones as Mufasa. It's just everything about the animated film was just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, each to their own. Not everybody's going to be the same as me when it comes to The Lion King, but for me, it was probably it is the pinnacle for me when it comes to animation, and it still stands up beautifully now, even to this day. And the you can't really even call it a live action. It's an animated film, really, but it's just ultra realistic. When John Favreau, yeah, John Favreau announced that he was going to be helming or directing a Lion King remake that was hyper realistic. You actually, emulating real animals instead of cartoon animals, so to speak. I went to see it because I was just I wish I hadn't gone to see it because I almost walked out. Um, I went to see it and it just failed again. It just failed again. Yes, it just felt to me like Hollywood was trying to say to people, look at what we can do. Look at the technology we have. Look what we can do. We can make a lion look like a lion. We can make a zebra look like a zebra. Wow. Wow. Well done, Hollywood. You know what I mean? That's all it felt like to me. It just felt like a massive promotion to the technology used on the film. Um, it didn't feel like anything else. All the characters were dead because it was like real animals, so there was no proper emotion. There was no. It was. There was just no. Yeah, the characters weren't emoting the emotion at all. It's like a character will say something funny, but the face wouldn't change in order to bring it over to the audience. I understand that it's supposed to be ultra realistic and it's supposed to be real animals, so to speak. But you have to have something for the audience to drive the performance home to the audience. You have to have some kind of emotion to the features of the face and everything, to just a little glimpse of it, so it works. It what's being acted, what's being spoken, what's being said, the scenario of what's happening in the scene. It sold more to the audience. I didn't feel invested in that film at all because I just couldn't take it. I just everything just felt flat, with the performances. The only good thing about that film is they got James L. Jones back to play Mufasa, and that's about as good as you're going to get for that film, in my opinion. Even though I am a big fan of Jon Favreau, I do like Jon Favreau. He's made some great films, but that film for me, it was just like, why would you even bother? Which then brings me sidelining onto the new one, the Mufasa Lion King film. Uh, well, I haven't even watched it all the way through. I will be honest with you. I tried to watch it. It's now on Disney Plus, on there now, and I got about 10 minutes in, and I was just like, yeah, okay. They've got the. I think they've listened to some of the criticism for the first attempt, for the first film of this type, because the characters do emote more with the facial features. They do actually kind of, they smile. You see, there's a lot more emoting with the features of the face than there was in the Lion King film that they did. However, I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. It's just like this didn't have to happen. I understand the Mufasa film is based upon, I believe, was it a rejected idea? I think they wanted to make a prequel animated film as a prequel. And it was like, or they was going to do something with it, but it never happened. And I think that's what they used for the screenplay and for the script, for this film, the Mufasa film, and it was based on obviously Mufasa when he was young, and meeting Scar or Taka for the first time, and this, that, and the other, and you basically see him as a young lion, which you've never seen before in the animated stuff, anyway. Um, but yeah, I just don't think it needed to be to happen. I mean, I'd have preferred it to be fully animated, like the original Lion King film was. I'd have happily have seen a fully animated version of like a prequel film based on Mufasa rather than this live action, which is just not live action. It's just hyper realistic CGI animation. But yeah, I just not invested in it at all. Now, obviously, we've had recently that's just come out Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm not going to go into things too much with the Snow White film because I don't know the ins and outs fully, what's being said or what's going on. I know it's surrounding the actress playing Snow White. She said some stuff in an interview about certain things about the original animated film, and also there's the controversy of making the dwarves, the seven dwarf characters. They are all fully CGI characters. They decided not to use dwarf actors or what have you. They decided to go against using actors to play those parts, and instead they decided to go down the route of fully CGI characters, which kind of, yeah, was a bit of an insult to people like that. So yeah, so it was a bit of a two-way streak. It was something that was said by the actress who played Snow White, and then the decision to go with CGI dwarf characters. Um, yeah, but that film was completely flopped. I haven't gone to see it. I don't plan on seeing it. If it goes up on Disney Plus, I might just see what all the fuss is about and just see how much of a cringe fest it is. But I'm not going to pay money to see it. Definitely not paying money to see it. Yes, the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it came out in the 1930s. It's the very first feature film Disney made as a company under Walt Disney. It was the first film they ever made, or feature film. And yes, okay, it is a product of its time. It is a product of its time when it comes to how it comes over, the animation used, the techniques. However, it is still a timeless classic. It is still something you can still get enjoyment out of, even to this day. Um, it has everything. It has a good balance to it. Yes, it's a more fairy tale. It's a lot more centered more to girls in a way because of this whole princess thing, you know. However, I loved the dwarf characters when I was a kid. I loved the seven dwarfs, like, you know, Dopey, Angry, all those characters. I thought they were fantastic. I thought they were funny. And, you know, to me, yes, it's a 1930s film. It's a product of its time. It still holds up a little bit, but not perfectly. So I can understand them considering to do some kind of a remake with it. However, I think the decision that they made, or the decisions they made with the production of this live action film based on the original Snow White 1930s film, the new live action film, I think the decisions made were bad. It has literally crashed and burned at the box office. Nobody's going to see it. There was another live action adaptation with Disney that was actually in pre-production. It was actually actively going to be the next live action project. Apparently, they were going to do a live action Tangled film, and that doesn't need to happen either, because I think Tangled is actually a decent film. That the film that's already been out for years. I think it's a decent film. So a live action version of it, I don't think needs to be done. And apparently, it has been with the reception of the Snow White film. It seems that it has been put on hold indefinitely for now, and I think they're in a bit of a. I think Disney in a bit of a tizzy with themselves at the moment. I think the board of directors and so on, and people involved at Disney, I think they're looking at their options. But the point of this video is, I mean, talking about. I mean, obviously there's the Lilo and Stitch live action film, or is it a series? The Lilo and Stitch film or live action that's coming out this year. Now, I will check out Lilo and Stitch. I will check out Lilo and Stitch because I do like Lilo and Stitch. Yes, it didn't need to be done. However, Lilo and Stitch is a much more, I think, an easier adaptation for them to do in live action. Because obviously, there's only so many characters that will be CGI. The most of the characters are all humans. And Lilo, of course, Lilo's sister, and all the other characters within it that the townspeople, you know, the people that live where Lilo lives. You know, all those people are just normal actors, normal human characters. So there's only so many characters that would be CGI. So I think it would be easier to adapt, and it's not too much of a difficult story to adapt and make and market it to a normal general audience. I will check out Lilo and Stitch and see what it's like because I have seen the trailer and it looks innocent enough. But again, it didn't need to be done. I think with Lilo and Stitch, obviously you've got the original film. I think there's a couple films, feature length films, and then they did a TV animated series for Disney Channel, which I think all of it's great. I think all the animated stuff that they've done for Lilo and Stitch is brilliant. I will, like I said, I am contemplating checking out Lilo and Stitch, the live action film, but that's as far as I'm going to go with that. I mean, there's been a fair few live action adaptations come out over over the past, what, 5+ years or so. Um, but yeah, the point of me making this video, sorry, the point of me making this video is it's just my standpoint when it comes to the way Disney are handling things. I don't have a problem with a live action adaptation per se to something, but it's the execution. Um, Whoever's behind the scenes at Disney, they're not executing, they're not planning good enough, I don't think. And it's just like at the minute, Disney, all they seem to care about and be putting money into is production of live action adaptations or remakes to their past library when it doesn't need to be done, because a lot of their animated shows, a lot of Disney's animated films and so on from the past, they are still timeless. They still hold up to this day. They don't need a live action adaptation. Not every single film they've ever made needs a live action version, because that seems to be what they're doing at the moment. Yeah, it's just I love Disney. I love Disney. I love what they did back in the day. I love the 2D. I love their digital animation. I love their proper traditional animated stuff from like 1930s and so on. Their golden era stuff. I love all of it. I love every single bit of it. But yeah, you really need to. Disney just need to wake up and smell the coffee, I think. The general audiences are getting bored of these lazy adaptations. There's just no thought put to them at all, in my opinion. All they're doing is just flexing their muscles or flexing their wallets and saying, look how much money we have. Look what we can do with technology today. We can make a lion look like a lion. We can make a tiger look like a tiger. We can make a little Stitch move around the screen. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just like look at us. Look what we can do with technology today. It's just like flexing muscles and flexing the wallets, and there's just no heart. There's just no heart. The deliverance and everything is poor, and like the whole thing with Snow White, I think Disney might have just realised in a very harsh and expensive way that the audiences aren't idiots. The general audience paying to go and see a film at the cinema or to stream it online or whatever, the general audience aren't idiots, and I think Disney are finally finding that out the hard way. We're not the general audience aren't idiots. If your lead actress playing Snow White's going to be an idiot and say something that's going to jeopardize the production, which she did. There was something she said that jeopardized things, and it caused a big panic. And then you've got the whole controversy around the dwarf characters being CGI instead of real actors. Yeah, very, very poor decision making, my friends. Very, very poor indeed. So, yeah, you need to rethink things. You need to have a strategy meeting. Stick to what you know. I think stick to animated films or animation stuff, and just think things through before you decide to do it. I think there just needs to be more thought. You just be more thoughtful. That is all you can do. But end of the day, it's all about business. It's all about earning millions and millions and millions at the box office. It's just greed at the end of the day that is probably at the forefront of a lot of the decision making. It's just greed. There's nothing else to it. It really is, and it's just such a shame because Disney have the people behind the scenes. Disney have some incredibly talented people, incredibly talented artists, storyboardists, writers. Whatever you can imagine, Disney have some of the best people in the business working for them, and also they outsource from other production companies as well for people to work on projects. And everybody that they work with, they're seeing some incredible gifted talent there. And I just think their talent and their work and their time and their talent and everything is just being wasted at the moment because of how lackluster Disney seem to be with things at the moment. I mean, it's not just Disney. I mean, obviously, DreamWorks has gone down a bit of a bad thing. I wouldn't say everything DreamWorks has done is perfect. There's been some films that DreamWorks have produced that haven't done as well. But yeah, DreamWorks, I think, are great. I think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was absolutely phenomenal. I think that was a beautiful film, and I think that was proper DreamWorks pinnacle again coming back. And then obviously Pixar. I absolutely love Pixar's films. However, I will say there has been some not so good ones within recent years. However, I still have higher hopes for Pixar over Disney themselves, in my opinion. But there we are. That's the video today. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on the Disney live action films. Are you sick of seeing them? Are you somebody that doesn't mind seeing them? Yeah, just let me know your thought process on it all in the comments below. Also, if you wish to see more from me, please consider subscribing, commenting, share the video with people you may know that also are Disney enthusiasts and so on. But yeah, thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.